What's up, everybody? This is Josh coming to you with another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Show. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest affiliate marketing news, tips, and trends. Once again, I'm Josh from OfferVault.com, the industry's largest aggregator of all things affiliate marketing. A big thank you goes out to our sponsor, Crack Revenue. We love you guys, and today's ChatGPT read is done as a rap song. I practiced this a few times. We'll see how it goes. All right, here we go. Yo, listen up. Let me tell you about a network that's prime. Crack Revenue's the name. They're on the grind. Top adult CPA network. They ain't no joke. If you're in the game, you better take note. They got offers in categories, cams to dating, help to OnlyFans. They keep innovating. With 14 plus years in the industry, strong. Crack Revenue's where you belong. Jerk mates, their crown jewel, the cream of the crop, but their lineup stacked. They never stop. From camps to dating, they got it all. And the payouts, yo, they never small. Some of the best payouts in adult, you know it's true. Crack Revenue's got the deals to see you through. So sign up now and get in on the scene and get a 15% bonus living the dream. Crack Revenue's the team you want to roll with. In the adult game, they're the ultimate myth. So don't wait, don't hesitate. Join the revolution. It's never too late. So if you're ready to make moves, don't miss out. Sign up with Crack Revenue, there's no doubt. With offers galore and payouts so clean, it's a network of champions if you know what I mean. What up,
Woo!
Crack Revenue? Thanks. Thank you,
Pretty
ChatGPT. ChatGPT. Yeah, I used to go by White Chocolate when I was
I
in
met
high
you
school.
on the street selling mixtapes years ago.
Yeah, I used to go by White Chocolate when I was younger. We could call me that. Now we also have Daddy Callbucks, Adam Young, hashtag It's a Call Track Life, as well as the industry legend Harrison Gevirtz, and today's special guest. Oh, hold on a second. Producer's in my ear. Oh. I just found out we don't have a special guest today. It's just the boys hanging out. It's been a while. What's up, guys? How we doing in that hot Florida sun?
It's good. I think I realized today that for the low price of a YouTube sponsorship, you can get Josh to do just about anything.
I'm just trying to keep it fresh, you know? I'm trying to keep it fresh. Got to keep people
And
on
I
their
want to
toes.
apologize to our listeners. I am not wearing socks.
I am.
It's okay. Adam
I'm
has.
wearing money socks, so thank you.
Some of us have FU money, and some of us try to make our sponsors happy. That's kind of the name of the
Yeah,
game.
that's certainly not me. I'm still not wearing Crack Revenue swag, and I will not.
Well, we do love you, Crack Revenue. Thank you for sponsoring. Today's going to be a kind of chill episode. I want to talk about Adam's book. The published author, Adam Young, I believe it's a top-selling book on Amazon right now, but I also want to talk to you about the process of writing the book. And I got to say, I have two Instagram accounts now, my personal and the OfferVault Instagram account. And on my OfferVault Instagram account, my entire feed and story timeline is filled with people talking about the pay-per-call revolution. It's a must-read. Someone actually said become a billionaire overnight. I thought that was a little bit extreme. But outside of that, it's everybody.
I did not claim that.
Yeah, no, that's not in the book. Everyone's giving you rave reviews. I want to know, like, I don't know if it's been a week or 2 weeks, but how's this initial launch period kind of been going for you? Has it kind of exceeded your expectations of what it was going to be? Is it kind of right where you thought it was going to be? What's it been like?
That's a great question. So I had no idea going into it. I spent 15 months writing the book and working with our editorial team. So we have a whole team of people that help me do this. I initially started doing it on my own, but realized very quickly that that was not a good idea if I really wanted to get the best message out there. And also, it's just like such a huge time commitment. So when we launched the book, I actually called one of our good friends, Sam, and I said, people are actually buying this thing. And he's like, of course they're buying it. He's like, tons of people are going to buy this book. I'm sure it's spectacular. And Sam bought a copy. And I was really surprised at the reception. So overnight, we went from zero to essentially the #1 new bestseller in marketing on Amazon. Top new book. And then within 3 days, I hit the top 10 bestseller list on Amazon. And so overnight, I literally became a best-selling author. And so I'd like to thank everyone who purchased a copy of the book. I know there's amazing things in there. I know it's going to help a lot of people out and build help people build all sorts of new businesses in the industry. But I think to candidly answer your question, anytime you run a marketing campaign, and that's what this is, you're always unsure of what's going to happen until you actually launch it. So the results have been spectacular thus far. We haven't even emailed our list about the book yet, which is going out today. We should definitely post a link in the comments to the Amazon listing. I'd really appreciate reviews from anyone that buys the book. But it's been a hell of an adventure. And one of my favorite things I talk about in the book is success stories of our customers, Josh. And for those of you not watching on YouTube, behind Harrison and I here, and the reason the Ringba logo is up on the wall, is we are actually in possession of the first $100 million GOAT Award, which is behind us. I'm not going to out who won it. We're going to announce that soon. But in fact, one of our customers managed to run $100 million on a single campaign in a single year using Ringba. And so we're very excited about that. It's so wild.
Is that good? Is that good?
I don't know. Do you have $100 million?
No, I don't. I'm wearing a crack revenue hat. So to put it into perspective, what's like an average campaign do? I'm sure it's very subjective to the vertical and stuff, but from what you guys see, like if 100 million's the top, what's like the middle?
Well, that was just in a year. I don't actually know what that campaign's doing now. I know it's more. But
Yeah, that person's continued to grow their business.
yeah, I don't actually know the answer to that, Josh. I think the average is probably $5,000-$10,000 or something on a campaign.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the majority of the volume we see comes from professional marketers and call centers and public companies and things like that. So there's a really big assortment of customer type.
Yeah, I think also a lot of marketers, it's not easy to get a campaign going when you're starting out, and like to get something to this level of scale is there's few and far between that can do that.
Yeah, and I remember meeting this gentleman at LeadsCon maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and he was running no phone calls and wanted to get into phone calls, and we sat down and we just made the commitment to help him grow his business. And now we're literally sitting here with his $100 million award, which I have to admit is pretty ridiculous.
It's huge.
It's sitting on the floor. It's almost 5 feet tall.
We took a picture when it arrived, and it is huge. I don't know how that's all I got. It's fucking big.
But what was really cool is I posted this on Instagram, Harrison reshared it, and then we both started getting bombarded with messages and texts from people that are like,
Dude,
holy shit, I'm going to do that. I want one of those. And so
a friend and customer messaged me yesterday afternoon. The first matter of business was, me, what's up? Him, dude, just hustling late, trying to get a $100 million GOAT. Second matter of business was, what'd you lift today? So, it was on brand. It's good.
Yeah, I'd expect nothing less. I do have a question about the $100 million campaign. Does like a $100 million campaign like that have any kind of direct effect on Ringba in terms of like the success of a campaign leads to additional success for Ringba, or is it mostly like an indirect effect where someone sees, oh my God, so and so did 100 million working with Ringba, why am I not working with them yet?
That's a great question. I think it depends on the type of campaign, and I don't actually know the details of this campaign. If someone is working with publishers, and I don't know if it's the case for this one, actually, but if someone is working with publishers, then the number of publishers they work with does put our software out in front of more people because it puts it in front of their partners. Though at this point, I think on the publisher side, the vast majority of the industry uses our technology. And on the buyer side, it's the same kind of thing. If they're working with a bunch of buyers will usually get Ringba logins and see it. And every single one of the buyers on this campaign is likely aware of Ringba. I think the most exciting outcome for me on a personal level, though, isn't the amount of money that something like this will bring into Ringba, or even the amount of money that we got paid in fees from a campaign like this or from our customer in general. The most exciting thing for me about this level of achievement is proof that it's possible for the industry and the ecosystem. And when people see something is possible, other people start to achieve it in short order.
We still have conversations with people that are like, yeah, I do leads. And, I believe this type of, award shows people like what the future is and where they should direct their, efforts and focuses on moving forward. These calls.
And there's a couple things that have changed recently that really stand behind that, which is the closing of the lead generator loophole by the FCC. So a lot of companies right now are looking into getting into calls. And I think what's interesting for a company that's doing well in leads, when they see something like this, they go, holy cow, I can do even more in calls. Like, I think it shows the industry what's possible in phone calls in a really big way. And the network effect of it will motivate a lot of people to achieve their goals. A great example of this is the 4-minute mile. And when the first guy broke, it took years and years and decades for the first guy, and I don't remember his name, but to break the 4-minute mile. But within a couple weeks of the first person breaking the 4-minute mile for the first time in human history, another person did it because they saw that it was possible. And so when you see something is possible, the second person to achieve it comes very, very quickly. And the data we have tells us that the next one will be made very soon. And so I'm super excited about this achievement. We'll talk about it more. But what it shows is what's really possible in the affiliate marketing industry and, of course, pay per call. And the GOAT Club is really the only style of award like this in our industry. And it's pretty amazing because it shows people what they can do too.
Yeah, to cater to our running audience out there, which I know is a big segment of our listeners, that was in 1954, Roger Bannister at age 25 with
Adam was 8 years old.
3 minutes 59.4 seconds, just snuck it in. I think I read a book called Breath, talked about that and how kind of competition just catches up when someone sets a new standard. I want to take us back to the book real quick. I'm really interested, like you mentioned all the steps very quickly, what you went through and how you realized very quickly you needed help and an editorial team and all this stuff. What was it like when you first sat down that first time? Blank piece of paper. Was it like, what was your approach? Was it, I'm going to start with a timeline based on my life or my professional experiences? Was it a combination of both? I guess because I just see that as a huge barrier to entry. It's very overwhelming. I'm sure there's people who have thought about writing a book or just what it takes to write a book. So I'm curious, in your experience, what was that first step like, and how did you slowly like overcome that and get to each next phase of the process?
I don't know how other authors do it, but for me, it was a question of what goal do I want to accomplish? And so that was the first thing I defined. And that goal was, how do I help as many people as possible build successful, sustainable businesses? Because the outcome of that fulfills our mission at Ringba, which is to help our clients grow. But also on a personal level, if I can unlock a way that someone can change their life and make it better, it allows me to give back to an industry that helped pull me out of poverty from my parents' basement. And so my goal was like, all right, we built this crazy software. So many people are seeing success. People are winning $100 million awards. Like, how do we take the last 8 years of what we learned and put it into a book that will help others provide for their families, create jobs, build businesses? And so once I defined that goal, I realized that there's absolutely no way that I cannot achieve this goal. Like, there's no way that I'm willing to drop the ball on this. And I knew it was going to take a really long time to get it right. And also, it's the first thing I've put my name on like this, so I wanted to make sure that I did an exceptional job. And that's not like a brag. I don't know what the reception's going to be. People haven't read the book yet. But I just know that I put my heart and soul into it, and I assembled a really amazing team to help me do it. And there's some amazing information in there, and it's super evergreen, and so it's going to stand the test of time. And so when I started writing the book, I wanted to do it that way. I was like, I want to write this book and make sure that for the long term, it'll continue to help people over time. And that was the goal. But to your point, when I sat down and I was like, Chapter 1, Introduction. I think the first thing that popped into my head was, fuck. Like, oh no, what did I do? What did I do? I just committed to doing this giant thing. And it's like 300 pages. Like the book's 300 pages, so it's not short. And I had to organize a lot of stories from our career together, Harrison and I working together, a lot of the failures I went through. I went all the way back to when I was a kid and how I got bullied in school and what it was like to be me growing up, to just show other people that it doesn't matter what your background is. If you put the time and effort in, you can achieve success. And so, like, organizing all those stories and all the materials, what I wanted to teach, how I wanted to teach it, it was a huge process that took months of work and thought and just so many hours just to get to the first sentence. And then once I got there, it was a lot. You know, you end up writing a book, if you want to do it correctly, 15 times, 20 times. You write the book, and then you rewrite the book, and then you rewrite the book, and then you rewrite the book. And I've read the final manuscript 8 times, just to give you an idea. And I started recording the audiobook today, which is the real reason the studio is set up like this. And I spent hours with a sound engineer who does professional audio recordings, just getting every single word correct, making sure that I can get the message out that I think will impact people the most. And all I think it boils down to is just, it's overwhelming. It's an immense amount of work. Whatever I thought it was going to take, it's 10 times the amount. And then once we got to the finished manuscript, I like Chad on our team and Harrison helped me with this. We're like, how do we print this thing? How do we print it in bulk? How do we fulfill it? How do we get it out to as many people in the industry as possible? Like, how do we turn it into a bestseller? How do we do all these things? And we're still very early in the process, but I really appreciate Harrison. I really appreciate our team at Ringba, because they have realized how much effort I put into this, and they have taken it upon themselves to put like that much effort into making sure that people will receive a copy of it. Yeah, so I'm super excited. Hopefully that answers your question. I went all over the place.
Yeah, that was honestly one of the best answers I've ever heard in my life.
Shut up, Josh.
I was going to ask, you see the instruments behind me. For people that don't know, I play a lot of music, but this kind of relates to my next question. Sometimes I'll write a song and I'll finish it, or a jam or something, and I'll just be like, man, this is shit. Like, because I've just heard it too many times. At any point in the process, were you ever doubting what you were putting on paper, or the whole time were you kind of like, this is going to be amazing and I can't wait to get it out there? Or is it a little bit of both?
I don't think I had self-doubt, but whenever I do anything, I'm very critical about the work product. And so I started actually writing chapters and material in the book in January of 2023, just to give you a timeline. I had started organizing it long before that, so maybe 6 months before it, but I didn't actually start carving up chapters and stories in print until January 2023. And the first introduction was no good. The first version of my stories were no good. The content was good, but it wasn't in my voice. And I wanted it to read like the way that Adam Young talks. And that's a really big challenge when writing a book. Similar to like when you're writing music, you want to convey the emotion of how you feel through the songs that you're writing. Same goes when you're writing words in the book. To get it to actually read like people would listen to you, like they do on this podcast with me, is really, really hard to do. And so it took a lot of editing, a lot of introspective work to try and get out of my own head so that I can read this as
Well, did you
someone
have to
who's not
did you
me.
have to think like to yourself, like how would Adam Young say that?
No, what I would do is I would read what I was writing out loud and sometimes record it and listen to it and try and understand, like, is this in my voice? Is this me? And the verdict is yes. Like, I recorded 25% of the audiobook in one sitting with engineers this morning, and they were like, bro, you crushed it. Like, we're a quarter of the way through the book in one sitting. This was supposed to take 18 hours. This is not going to take 18 hours. And the reason is because I've already read the book out loud numerous times, because that was my editorial process. I wanted it to sound like me. I wanted it to flow. I wanted to be able to speak it. And so doing the audiobook, I think, has confirmed that all that effort was worthwhile. And I got pretty close to where I wanted it to be.
Harrison, what was it like for you watching Adam, who you've worked with and known for a long time, go through this process? Did you see it, affect him as a
I saw it
human
as something he was
being?
definitely very excited about. I remember when the process first started, and he told me about the first kind of time that he sat down and started to really like work on the book. He almost seemed energized about it. Like it was, definitely not an easy process, but he was excited to do it. Like truly, I think he enjoyed it. It was not easy, but it was an enjoyable challenge for him.
Are the rumors true that Harrison, you're also going to be writing a book about your journey? Because I think that would be a bestseller as well.
I can barely write emails, bro.
So Harrison, on a serious note, who is this book for? Like, is it for anybody trying to become an internet marketer? Is it for newbies, just people in pay per call, experienced
I,
veterans that are crushing the game? Like, who do you think is really going to benefit from this and
I,
why?
not to be tacky, I'd say all of them. Honestly, I think that this book definitely gives you the framework to build a call business if you are, a newbie or whatever. But at the same time, I think there's going to be ideas or kind of pointers, whatever you want to call them, to people that people that are running big call businesses can benefit from as well.
Also, I think the stories help motivate other entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Like we had David Stodolak on here the other day, and we talked about some leadership and entrepreneur struggles. And at the end of the day, it's lonely as an entrepreneur. And so when you can read that other people struggled as well and went through those fights, it's motivating. You don't feel alone. And so some of the stories and things we went through as entrepreneurs are in there, and they were hard to share. Some of it was hard to share. I think talking about when I was young and a kid growing up was a little rough. But I think what it will do is connect with others that also struggled, because everyone struggles, and then provide motivation to move forward. At the same time, it's a 300-page book on pay-per-call. So if you read it and don't get anything out of it, I don't think that's really a me problem. So to Harrison's point, I do think that it's good for anybody. I think it's great for training staff. If you're a pay-per-call company or an affiliate network or a marketing agency and you want people running calls, they should read this book. Like that's perfect, the perfect audience. I also think that leaders in affiliate marketing, marketing agencies, anyone doing marketing, or people in insurance agencies or call centers or even small businesses should read it so that they understand how all of these things work, and then they can use pay-per-call to grow their businesses. So there's a really wide audience for the book, and I think that anyone that's essentially involved in phone calls or marketing in general would benefit from reading it.
Do you feel like there was like an element of like therapy involved in it for you in terms of like writing it, talking about it, putting these experience you had? You mentioned like just your childhood and the ups and downs associated with that, like putting it out all out there in the public. Like, did it kind of give you a sense of freedom like, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking like if I went through that, it might. So I'm just curious how it worked for you.
I don't know. I actually told one of the stories from when I was a kid in the audiobook recording today, and it was not my favorite because it takes me back to a place of like pain and suffering. And I don't know how it's going to be received. I don't know what the outcome's going to be. I'm okay with the fact that I shared it. My advisors really wanted me to put it in there and to talk about some of Harrison and my failures that were in there, some stories about when our businesses failed. And those were not really fun to dig through and tell the stories of, but I think it's
It
important.
makes the book real.
Yeah, it makes it real. I think it's important to share that stuff because Harrison and I have failed in business together and separately. And the reason we've been able to achieve what we have is because of those failures. So I think that sharing them is really powerful.
If you're gonna write a book about business and there's no failure in the book,
It's not about
you should
business.
go to a shredder.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
fuck, everyone, billionaires, Jeff Bezos has failed. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's important, as you know, even though it's not easy or whatever, it really is. You know, I'd say failure is probably one of the most important aspects of our business careers that have gotten us like to success.
Yeah, and when we're winning, I start to freak out because you're either like winning or learning, and I'd rather be learning. And so I'm just like, I don't like where are the lessons to be found in the wins? What could we have done better? It's much easier to learn when you fail. It's much more painful when you fail, of course, but the failing really teaches. I think, Josh, to like really answer your question, I'm happy I did it, but I don't know if it was really therapeutic because I've post-mortemed all these things so many times. Um, I am curious how it will be received. I do know it will help people, and so that's really the most important thing. But when you put yourself out there, sometimes you just don't know.
Yes, you mentioned you'd rather be learning. What did you take out of this experience? Like, what would you have done differently? Which kind of piggybacks on another question I was going to ask, which is, are you already thinking about writing another book? And has this book and this experience already shown you things to do again and things to do differently?
Yeah, great question. To answer your question, I am already halfway through the companion workbook, which is it'll probably be spiral bound. It'll probably be a couple hundred pages, full 8.5 by 11, and it's like a full workbook of all our strategies for how we grow businesses, how we build businesses, and how Harrison and I would effectively build a pay-per-call business if we started over today, including the exercises and um, the things people can actually do. Like it's a real workbook, similar to how I teach in some of our mastermind events. I like to give out a workbook and then go through the workbook. So I'm excited about that. That's probably a couple months away. And I think that will be great for anybody in marketing in general to grow their business because I think some of the materials in there would surprise people. It also includes things about our leadership strategy and how we build teams, how we run teams, how we think about scaling and growth. And a lot of that is not in the book because it would be too long. Like I could write a whole book on leadership. And so the companion workbook I'm really excited about. I think that's going to be like pouring gas on a fire for someone that's getting into the industry or an affiliate that's starting to run pay-per-call or um, someone that's getting started or growing their business in the space. And then yes, I have actually committed to writing book number 2, and we are starting on April 1st. And we're going to try and get it done in 8 months this time
That's going to be
because
called the paper call evolution, right? No? Okay, cool.
I don't.
I mean, he made the face thing for me.
I don't know. I thought it was a good second title to a book that you called the paper call revolution. Do you like, is it gonna be kind of the second volume or is it gonna be a totally different like direction?
No, it is going to be the second volume, and it's going to focus on the buy side of the equation and how businesses can really grow by buying phone calls and finding consumers with phone calls. Essentially, how do you melt your phone with inbound calls is what we're going to be focusing on for the second book. It'll probably be a few hundred pages too. I have a lot of ideas that I came up with in the first one that we just simply did not have enough time to explore, and that's why I'm going to do the second one. And then by the time the second one comes out, my hope is that we'll have learned how to distribute this book using paid ads. So we hired a media buyer. We have former media buyers on our team. I'm going to be buying media again for the book, not calls, but for the book. And I'm just really excited about that because I haven't run ads in a really long time. And so I'm going to be going back to my roots of running ads. And it's something that Harrison and I are really proud of, is the fact that the only software company in affiliate marketing that's run by people who have actually run successful call and affiliate businesses. And so I think it's going to be super cool going back to my roots. I think it's going to be really great to media buy and then to be able to teach people what I learned from that process as well. So it's going to be fun.
Well, make sure you check out the link in the description of this episode to get a copy of The Pay Per Call Revolution by one of the new best-selling authors, Adam Young. Should we talk about a few top offers on OfferVault, guys? I know we got a few minutes
Yeah,
left.
we should. But before we go, I received 3 texts of people who have received the book already just during the recording of this show. So it's I don't know how to express the gratitude to the industry properly for the support they've been giving me on this. I'm super excited for everyone to read it.
Again, check out that link in the description. Go get your copy of The Pay Per Call Revolution. And if you have any questions about the book or parts of the book you want us to talk about, feel free to leave a comment and we'll definitely revisit this in the future, I'm sure. So, talking about a few top offers here on OfferVault over the past week or two. We have Pay Per Call, regular, whole bunch of everything.
Hold on.
All
I
right.
just got another one.
I'm trying to do my job
Hold on,
here.
no, this is important. I just got another one, a picture of our boy Chris Shahade sending me a photo of him receiving his $10 million GOAT award. So, I mean,
Shahade.
I don't even know what to say. Like these things, we literally have a pile of, what is that, close to 100 GOAT awards in the kitchen.
Wild.
There's literally like $250 million worth of GOAT awards, not including the $100 million GOAT right here sitting in our kitchen that we have to go deal with.
And I don't more of these.
Yeah, I was gonna say Chris, also a friend of the pod. Can't see which episode number right on the spot here, but definitely go check that one out.
Memorize every guess.
I know. I know. Well, I remember Dave Stodolak, episode 60, because that was last week. Something I typically see about top offers, one of the consistent ones, especially in the pay-per-call space, is rehab and addiction recovery. It doesn't really matter on the time of year. Do you guys feel like that's kind of just because there's so many people struggling with those issues and that's just a reflection of why it's constantly at the top? Or do you think there's any rhyme or reason to those types of offers?
Has to do not to be breast or whatever, but the payouts are very high in that vertical.
True.
And based on data we've seen overall in OfferVault, the high CPA offers do tend to get a lot of love from affiliates because they see an offer that's paying $30 and they see an offer that's paying $800. It's like.
But if you've learned anything from this podcast, you know that the highest payout is always not the best payout.
It's very competitive. There's a reason why it's the highest payout. It's because it's really competitive. It's not easy.
We're also getting into the end of May here, so it's no surprise that with the warmer weather, we're seeing home services just absolutely dominating pay-per-call with 12,000 offer visits compared to the second highest, which is legal at 4,000. So once again, just like we saw last year, home service offers are really kind of ramping. That's the word, ramping up right now. And I know we've talked.
The other top pay-per-call offers searched on OfferVault is a vertical we know all too well, ACA and U65 health insurance, which continues to be extremely popular. Then we have some mass tort campaigns that are, receiving a lot of traffic, and another vertical that people love is MVA, motor vehicle accidents. It's interesting. I think both of us would agree those are strong verticals, so it's kind of expected.
Yeah. And every time I go to a conference right now, everyone's talking about Medicare, ACA, and the red oceans. But I think what you're highlighting here, guys, is that there's a lot of activity in other verticals that people aren't really talking about. Like, we don't really hear that much about MBA or rehab at trade shows or even in general, but these are really big campaigns with a lot of capacity available. And I just don't think enough people know about them or realize. You have to go learn an entirely new industry, of course, but if we were to start in calls, it wouldn't be
ACA.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the red ocean bloodbath. We'd be going, where do we find
I think I
millions?
mentioned this like 2 open enrollments ago. Like a good friend of ours called us up, like, dude, I'm getting into calls. I'm like, well, what are you gonna run? He's like, I gotta do Medicare. And I'm like, well, dude, it's like you're essentially starting to play football during the Super Bowl. Like, I wouldn't recommend that. And then like 2 weeks later, he's like, bloodbath, didn't make any money. It's too competitive. I couldn't get, the payouts I got weren't competitive because I have no one direct buying these calls, etc. They pivoted to like home services or something that is still a really big industry, just less, I guess, talked about. And they built a business on that. And so, don't always follow the trend, I guess you could say, in the pay-per-call space. Don't do what everyone else is doing. If everyone's going left, maybe consider going right.
I mean, I think that's great advice for business in general.
It's true.
Whenever we see anyone in our spaces do something, we try to do the exact opposite. But
Yeah,
what most people do is they try and copy the leader. But if you copy the leader, you're going to do something not quite as well as the leader, so you will never become the leader.
Well, and the leader is already 5 steps ahead of you working on the next thing that you're not even thinking about. Shout out to our friend Matt over at LeadSmart. You guys are the top visited pay-per-call network on OfferVault right now by a long shot. Now, moving away from the pay-per-call stuff, some of the other top categories on OfferVault over the past week or two include dating. No surprise there, just always popular. Probably because Harrison's just on the site all the time looking at those offers. We also have finance.
AI. What are you talking about?
Yes. Shout out to crack revenue. We also have finance.
Where is my Candy.ai credit?
Yeah, dude, and I got jerk mate. I'm living good.
Yeah, it's a good life to be a host of the affiliate marketing show. That's for sure. We got finance. We also got crypto, and this is what I wanted to ask you guys about. We talked about crypto a long time ago, months ago, like when we first started doing this show. I remember we talked about it quite a bit. Do you think there's anything to like Bitcoin and the industry kind of bouncing back the past month or two? I know recently Bitcoin got back up to like 70,000. It's somewhere around like 60, somewhere around there, coming all the way down from back from being at 20,000, like at the bottom of its, crash not too long ago. Do you think there's some new life in that industry and any like real future in terms of its application? Or do you think it's just super volatile and it's going to be an up and down roller coaster in that space? And how does it really affect the affiliate space in general?
I think in general, if we remove the Bitcoin crypto hype out of it, because I don't really want to get into that, I think what people should pay attention to, though, is where the eyeballs are going. So whenever crypto flies up, tons more people get into it. You get a ton of searches. More people are interested in it, which then results in more offers, more traffic, easier conversions, that type of thing. So as the prices go up, more people will search. Affiliates will capitalize on that. And the advice I want to give here is to find other areas where the same thing is happening, where some event is causing tons of eyeballs and searches in a specific niche. And when you find that and it's temporary, you can capitalize on it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you're going to see a huge wave of new crypto offers of all different kinds all over the world, and there's going to be a ton of traffic there because there's so much hype. And then if the price comes back down, you're going to see it contract again, and it's going to be very cyclical like that. But if I were an affiliate, again, I wouldn't go to a red ocean like crypto, even though people do very well in it. I would find other areas where there's news or some other type of hype that's going on, and then I would try to capitalize on those searches because a lot less affiliates are going to be there.
Yeah.
There's so many offers on OfferVault. Why go and promote something that everyone is promoting? It's like, I remember when I first got started as an affiliate buying traffic on Google, like one of my first campaigns was mesothelioma. Dude, I think I spent like $5,000 and made like $200. Like I got destroyed because I saw a really high payout and got excited and didn't realize that like it's not an easy vertical. Like it's tough. You know,
it's really tough. And some of the unique niche offers are going to have much lower opportunity levels. There are some offers that you're not going to be able to build a 9-figure business like this. You're going to build a much smaller business, but they can be really sustainable. I've had campaigns that have run for years in very specific micro niches where I've done, I don't know, a few $100,000 in revenue on a campaign a year. But I didn't have to do much work, and they were very high margin. And so you do need to find a bunch of those to build a long-term sustainable business, but it's
one time, Adam, we had a campaign in Trinidad and Tobago, the country, and the volume was not. I could not retire off this campaign, but the margins were like 1,000%. And I remember the buyer of these leads calling me up and like, dude, like the quality of these leads is higher than US, UK, everyone. This is the best traffic we've ever seen. Can you get more? I'm like, bro, I've signed up 12% of the country. Like, we're kind of reaching the ceiling here. Like, I'm sorry, dude. I killed it. Thank you. But like, unfortunately, this isn't a campaign in the US. Like, take what you can get, bro.
We even had a similar campaign, if you remember, Harrison, where we convinced the advertiser to let us run in Saudi and Kuwait and areas that have really big U.S. military presence.
Yeah, we convinced them to give us
a U.S. payout, the U.S. product for that. And what ended up, and it was just a flyer, but they said, sure, you can have exclusive on Saudi, but only per sale. And we're like, okay, great. And we ended up running campaigns in those countries that have really big military bases in English.
Smashed.
And yeah, the traffic was so incredibly cheap that only 1 out of 1,000 people was an American or something.
We just set a filter. Literally, we paid for traffic if it was like a non-English browser. Just like send it to like a no.
Yeah.
Like, we still paid for the clicks. Didn't matter.
Yeah, because no one else was monetizing these countries. And so we ended up selling at really high margin, not huge volume, but still probably a couple $1,000s a day in revenue at 80% or something like that, pure profit. And so if you can find unique things that are happening and ways to work with your advertisers to take advantage of those situations, you can find a lot of money. And I think that's really the way to win in affiliate marketing as you continue to go down. It's not to do what everyone else is doing. No one else was running Trinidad and Tobago. I remember this one now, actually. I remember. And then no one else is running to, at the time, Americans and Saudi. Like, what? How does that even make sense? So finding those like little exclusive pockets is really, really how you win long-term in the space. It's not going where everyone else.
The traffic was like the networks we bought that traffic were like paying us. It was like, it was like nothing. It was wild. That was a good one.
They didn't care. We're like, listen, we're going to buy a ton of traffic in the US. We want you to throw in this. They're like, what? Sure.
Trinidad and what?
Like, yeah. Where?
Well, I want to say thank you to our official sponsor, Crack Revenue, and to you guys for hanging out with me for a little bit. For Josh from OfferVault.com, Daddy Callbucks, Adam Young, as well as the industry legend Harrison Gevirtz. Let's make that paper. Let's make that dough. This was the Affiliate Marketing Show. We will see you next time.